well, couldn't exactly keep quiet about this. The Nia Jax situation. Should probably point out that I personally don't have as much of a hatred for Nia Jax as the whole internet seems to have. But you can't really pretend that this problem isn't there. For those not in the know, Nia Jax has been accused over the last few years of being a little bit, let's just call it reckless in the ring, and the amount of injuries that have been linked to her, well, her personally, not accidents either, just literally her botching or her doing moves in such an incorrect way that they actually harm, the people she's supposed to be working with. Most prevalent, I suppose, would be the situation with Kairi Sane that's just happened recently, although apparently that wasn't her fault. But we'll see. The buckle bomb, however, was her fault. There's also her dropping Bayley in dangerous ways, her hitting Charlotte a bit too more dangerous, in dangerous ways. And, well, you can't forget the whole Becky Lynch being punched in the face thing. Of course, it just kicked me out of a party. Sorry, I do this for audio more than anything else. Right, so getting back to it. When it comes to Nia, the solutions have been thrown out. Hi, Ian. If you want to join, do you want to join? So yeah, the idea has been that Nia Jax is a bit too dangerous to, put in a mat. It's been dangerous, as you probably well know. So, solutions I've seen so far have been things such as give her the Big Show 2000 treatment, which is send her down to developmental and get her sourced out. The problem there is that WWE doesn't really have developmental anymore. Not the way it used to be. And also, that would be to teach her how to wrestle. And the thing is that her NXT run, she actually wasn't that dangerous. She was actually very careful. Hold on, I'll just invite you in. Unprofessional as all hell. Oh, I am really not doing well today, it seems. There you go. And you're invited. So, yeah, the overall issue... So people said send her down to... As I was saying, they send her down to developmental. That won't work as I've just mentioned, she already knows how to wrestle. It's just that since she got to the main roster, she's gotten a little bit more dangerous than she should. So, naturally, the solution seems to be that a WWE solution is to reward her for the damage that she does, or make it into her character, which is probably not the best idea. And again, I don't hate Nia Jax. I think my personal opinion is that Nia Jax is good. She is one of the only big women in WWE at the moment. And the first thing people are going to do is compare her to people like Awesome Kong or Bertha Faye, or people who are, actually her size. The difference, of course, is that, well, the quickest thing they give is that Nia's a big woman, but she's not very good in the ring compared. And I don't think it's fair to compare everyone of a certain size. Because I think Nia could do the big monster. Hey, Ian. Sorry, I thought I'd do a little discussion on the whole situation when it comes to Nia Jax, because I take it you've heard, well, the latest story has come out that Nia injured Kyrie, although now they're saying Kyrie didn't actually, you know, it was all actually more Kyrie's fault than Nia's this time. Oh shit, it kicked me out again. Fucking hell. God damn it. Sorry about that.
That's alright.
Yeah, so yeah, as I was saying, Kairi Sane recently got her face bashed in at a house show during a match with Nia Jax. She's apparently fine, but she was knocked a bit silly. But it doesn't excuse, you know, the problem that exists. I mean, you're probably familiar with a lot of the problems that she's caused.
Yeah.
Well, the first major one I remember hearing is that obviously the punching of Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But then there was also she dropped Charlotte. She hurt Charlotte twice in a match. But she apparently missed a submission. She missed a moonsault or something that she was supposed to catch her in. And the other one was that she meant to do a shoulder breaker, but then she kind of dropped her head on a knee. Then there's, you know, all the other injuries she's caused. So I've been seeing there's been discussions lately on how to deal with her. And people have been putting out this thing of send her down to developmental, but I was just saying before you came on, I don't think that's going to fix it. Because the implication that she needs to go down to developmental implies that she doesn't actually know what she's doing. And the problem, if you've seen her on NXT, is that she does know full well what she's doing. She can do punches and throw and grapples and everything else. It's just she chooses, you know, to be a bit more reckless. She chooses to be reckless with all of the women she works with. And WWE's response to this seems to be just to, you know, make it into a character or just leave her be. I personally think that's a stupid idea. So, yeah, and what made it worse is recently she was on one of those Zoom chat things, and she said something that actually made all the other women that were in the chat with her actually go really, really quiet.
Right.
She said that she went and actually complained about Ronda Rousey to management. Saying that Ronda Rousey was too dangerous to work with people because she gave a concussion to Alexa Bliss, and everyone went quiet when it came to that. And I think I came up with why they went quiet. The first reason is that no one wants to really cause bad blood with Ronda Rousey, because WWE are just going to give, you know, they want to give Rousey a bit more, you know, clout, and they don't want to piss her off. The second one is that Rousey may have injured or hurt one person, but Nia's consistently injured people on quite the consistent basis. So she's in no position to talk. So I've been thinking of ideas. So the first one is send her down to developmental, but with no, you know, send her to developmental, but, you know, that won't help because, again, she's just not going to learn anything, and NXT isn't really a developmental thing anymore. The second one is to turn her into a job wrestler, like humble her or make her a joke wrestler. Because, you know, the thing is that would obviously make her damaged goods, and rumour is they don't want to piss off The Rock. because she is actually his cousin. Unlike Roman Reigns, who's not actually biologically related, she actually is. So I think they don't want to piss him off, although I'm of the mindset that I don't think The Rock would care. I think The Rock would accept it if it meant, you know, keeping everyone else safe. And what do you think?
Well, it's a tough. It's pretty tough because
Ian, you still there?
yeah, I'm still here. It's just that
Ian, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, you just went quiet for a second.
yes, there's a bit of a lag.
So, okay. So, well, you were saying it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I mean, how do you think they should handle Nia Jax? Because I think we can all agree that what she's doing, I don't think she's doing it intentionally.
Yeah,
I don't think she's. I don't think she's actively going out and, you know, injuring wrestlers for the sheer shits and giggles. I think she's just doing. I think it's just that she's gotten extremely reckless. So, you know.
Well, she's definitely not doing it for fun.
Well, no, of course not. I just think that she's gotten to the point where she was fine on NXT. As I said, she wasn't hurting people, but it's when she got to the main roster she actively started hurting people.
Do you think Vince might have a hand in it?
I don't think Vince has a hand in it. I think she just got sloppy because if you watch the turnbuckle spot with Kairi Sane, she's not watching where she's powerbombing Kairi, she's just flinging her around. Because I'm of the mindset, and it's an old-fashioned mindset, but I'm of the belief that if you're a bigger wrestler, then your responsibility is to look after the smaller ones and make sure that while you make them, you know, you show off the power and shit, you don't actively hurt the people you're meant to be looking after.
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. That's a fair, you know, that's fair. Because you want to keep your wrestlers safe. But Nia just flings people around without looking where she's throwing them, or hits moves without looking at where she's dropping people. So, you know, she's getting a bit too dangerous. So, I think that something clearly needs to be done to sort her out. But because it's not like WWE are going to do anything about it, and the locker room can't do anything about it because there's very few people that are Nia's size, and the only person she hasn't injured on that roster is sadly Ronda Rousey. And the belief as to why she didn't injure Ronda Rousey is because if she'd pissed Ronda Rousey off, Rousey might actually have hurt her, as response. I think we've got some lag again. Ian, you there? Hold on a minute. Ian, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry, you went silent again. All right. Well, I'm trying to think where we were.
It's you were saying that
I remember saying that she was basically being reckless, and it got it was that she was afraid that Ronda Rousey would actually hurt. It was something about Ronda Rousey actively might have hurt her if she'd hurt her. So she didn't fuck that one up.
Yeah.
But she is hurting like the smaller wrestlers she's working with, and Kairi's been hurt twice by her. Asuka's been hurt, and it's becoming too common. And what makes it worse is there's very few women of her size on the roster. So it's not like you can do a whole revenge thing, like have someone, her size beat her up, or someone of her size wrestle her, because the only person of her size in WWE is in NXT UK.
Yeah.
So my thought is either make her a joke wrestler so that she can't get much offense in, which again it might damage her value, but at this point I don't think WWE is going to do anything about her until she actively ends someone's career, or worst case scenario, accidentally kills someone. And the rate things are going, it is looking like something like that may happen.
Yeah.
But I think we can both agree she does need to be punished, though. I think that's something we can all agree on. But then that just begs the question: how do we go about it? How do we punish? How do we punish Nia Jax? And how do we make sure that she doesn't do this again? Because I don't like throwing comedy gimmicks on people, especially when Nia really isn't as bad as people make her out to be. She isn't as good as most other big women. She's certainly not worse than she's certainly not as bad as most big women. But something does need to be done to keep her under control. So I pose the question again: if you had to, choose a punishment or something to make sure Nia Jax doesn't do this anymore, how would you do it?
I really don't have an answer. Honest.
I think that's partially the problem as well, is that no one has an answer that can work for what to do with her. Because again, sending her down south will do. Sending her down to developmental will do nothing. I mean, unless you put her with someone who is her size. I mean, if they, for example, decided to bring Piper Niven up, or put her in a feud with Tamina, it might be a bit different. Because then it's she can't be as powerful with them. Meaning less people are getting hurt. Or at least that's the idea. That's the idea, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still stuck at just make her a comedy wrestler or put her in a position where she can't do this anymore to anyone.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It's a shame, really, because you get very few big women in wrestling. I mean, Awesome Kong. I mean, they had Awesome Kong, but she's gone, so well, that can't work anymore. I mean, hell, even Bertha Faye was pretty good. Sorry, I'm just sorry. I just remembered the theme song.
Yeah. Bertha Faye.
Oh my sweet Bertha Faye. I mean, she was a big deal in Japan.
Could I ever possibly say to keep you to be in your loving arms forever?
And that's another weird thing, is that she was a big deal in Japan as well and was a serious gimmick. Then she came to America and, well, Vince ruined her.
They turned her into a fat joke.
Yeah, similar to what you did with Missy Baker, funnily enough.
And to make matters worse, they made her like the on-screen girlfriend of Harvey Whippleman.
Oh, God, don't remind me. Harvey Whippleman.
The only man to win the women's title.
I'm sure a lot of other people wouldn't like to hear that one. It's not all bad. I mean, if you remember, I seem to... Well, I mean, I certainly do. I seem to remember Jacqueline getting the Cruiserweights title, so it's not so bad. I mean, I've been catching up with... I've been watching a bit of Stardom and some stuff since the Hana Kimura stuff as well. I mean, that... Hana's a thing to discuss as well at some point, although there's not much we can say at this point that's new because her family have made the request that no one question the other wrestlers or her family or anything else about the details, although they have given a cause of death. Well, they've mentioned how Hana died, and it sounds like Kairi Sane was the first person to find out something was wrong. Well, from what I'm hearing is that Hana put something out at midnight, Kairi Sane noticed it, found it, and no one else in Japan noticed it because it was midnight over there, but she managed to call, I think, Jungle Kione or something to go check on her. And that's when they found Hana. I mean, I've been looking back on some of her career, and I can honestly see why she might have been a bit upset towards the end.
Yeah.
There was a lot of negativity based around her new gimmick after she left her faction. Because the general consensus I'm getting is that people loved her character in her faction, but as soon as she came back, there were problems. Well, going back to the Nia Jax situation again, the only thing I can think of for for Nia Jax at this point is they're putting her against Asuka, which worries me greatly. But I'm worried because she's already hurt Asuka enough on the roster. I mean, some people are treating this as if it's just going to be a speed bump. Like, we're just going to have the match with Nia. Nia's going to just disappear afterwards, and then we're going to get the real challengers. Because Ember Moon, I mean, you heard Ember Moon's husband had to delete some of his tweets at one point because he found out that his wife was wrestling Nia, and he basically said, "Oh, great! I hope that moron doesn't injure my wife again." I mean, my concern again is just I don't want the price that they they pay for the injury. Well, for Nia Jax's behaviour is them permanently losing Kairi Sane or Asuka or injuring anyone. Well, for now, I still think my best solution is put her into a small-time feud and have her work with someone who's a bit more experienced than she is. But the only person I can think of is if they bring up Piper Niven. You still there, Ian? Oh, Ian's disappeared again. You're back.
Hey.
Yeah, he just cut you off for some weird reason. But yeah, I was saying the only person I can think of that's positive is bring up Piper. Yeah, bring up Piper Niven, and the reason I say bring up Piper is because Piper's got way more experience than Nia Jax has in general. I mean, she's technically in some ways bigger than Nia Jax is. But what I'm thinking is that she's got experience in Stardom, in ICW, and all around the world. So she can actually work and help Nia out a bit. And also, it's a big woman versus big woman feud, which I'm pretty sure WWE would love to have if they actually had any big women.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it'd be insulting for some people to have the whole, technically, Piper Niven is, from NXT, so therefore she's, to be treated as someone, less than Nia, who's been on the roster for a while. But I still argue that Piper's big enough that she can probably take a lot of the botches that Nia does. Or they'll be in positions where she can't actually do the things that she normally does to injure people. So it all works out. I mean, that's all I can think of is just find someone who is the size of Nia or as big as Nia, so she can't just do the Samoan drops and all the moves she does that actually hurt people, and just call it there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to call it at this point. With the lag and everything else, I don't think there's much else we can touch on. So I think I'll call it here. And hopefully we can have another discussion about these things another time when the internet doesn't decide to lag on us. Until then, if anyone listens, hey, stay safe. And we'll see how the thing with Nia goes.